Hey guys, so yeah, obviously the big thing to talk about in this episode is the reveal that Kanjuro was the spy this entire time. And of all the story points and plot reveals for pretty much my time of reading Wano in the manga, the revelation of Kanjuro being the spy is one of those things that is one of those things that is one of those reveals that not only just kind of stuck with me, but it's one that I'm also really kind of kicking myself for even to this day for just not realizing that he was the spy because on cause, and just looking throughout Wano, revisiting it in the anime, it made me realize just how many obviously like Kanjuro just kind of went through the list of all the times that he's betrayed Kinemon and the others in this episode, but this really made me like just look at all the little moments in 1.0 now and see just how many little clues that Oda had kind of dropped in 1.0 in order to make the reveal of Kanjuro being the spy like so much more like of an eye-opening reveal to me more now um because obviously the obvious final clue we get at the end of last week's episode with the painted bird delivering the message to Orochi is one of the more obvious ones. But there are so many other little clues from the very beginning of 1.0 that are so small I didn't think about that make this reveal so much better. Like for example, I don't know if anyone noticed this, but in the very beginning of 1.0, when the manhunt for the straw, pretty much in the beginning of 1.0, when the manhunt for the Straw Hats and their allies in the Akazan Nine started, if you look at something as basic as like the pretty much lot the like hit list, this assassination list, or the post or the wanted poster lineup, if you really look at that, if you really look at all those moments right there, Kanjuro was everyone had like a wanted poster or their name on a hit list, but Kanjuro was the one who was always left out. Like he pretty much was always the one who wasn't who was pretty much never like there when they who's never pretty much there who's never like on any of those lists and and that was kind of the first immediate red flag because it pretty much showed it was an indicator of okay, someone is that someone is influencing like Kanjuro's involvement in this. And yeah, Orochi is the number one suspect there, but we didn't know as to why. But now with the reveal of him being the spy, it does make sense now. The second little detail that stuck out is there were little moments where we would see Kanjuro sending there were little moments in the beginning of the series where we'd see Kanjuro sending messages, but up until last week, we never really saw where they were actually going. So he only ever told everyone of what he was doing. So that in itself it in itself shows that yeah, he's been relaying information. But the biggest one, honestly, and this is where I think he pretty much fully he fully revealed himself to us as the viewer, is what was the point where we got to Yasui's capture and execution as well as the capture of the rebels themselves. I think that was the biggest tell to me looking back that Kanjuro was in fact the spy. Because if you look at because if you just look at the what is it? If you look at the situation, absolutely no one up to a certain point, absolutely no one took the whole idea of the not even took the whole idea of the rebels of the rebel alliance, the rebels like the rebels like forming an army in order to fight Orochi. Not even Orochi himself really even took that stuff seriously. Then like and don't and Yasui, obviously the guy was a chatterbox, but again they never really they kind of wrote him off as a crazy old loon and didn't really take what he said seriously. But then once the whole thing with the markings, with the moon-shaped tattoos on people's ankles started cropping up, and once that information was leaked, that's at the point where Orochi started taking it a little more seriously. So, there was a transition between Orochi not taking this seriously, but then once Kanjuro had leaked information of the moon-shaped tattoos that pretty much signified the rebellion, that's where he started taking it a lot more seriously. So yeah, the pretty much change in mood, change in Orochi's mood towards that was kind of the other big indicator that something was going on for sure. And I gotta give Toei credit because they stylized the fuck out of this episode. Like just the reveal of Kanjuro's true malicious nature was just so amazingly done in itself, and it really just kind of captured this whole just really how much of a how much of an evil monster that Kanjuro really is. But even just even the way they so that in itself was done amazingly. But even the way they animated things like the violent nature of the weather really put you in the moment right alongside Kingdom and the others. Now, granted, I could have done without all the recaps where we pretty much go over where we get a recap to a certain point in time of every moment that pretty much Kanjuro had betrayed the group, but in the story, but at this point, I think it's a problem that's not even worth mentioning anymore because, well, it's something that we're gonna be dealing with either way. With that said, problem with the recaps aside, more than it, the one thing that made up for it was the ending, where we see Luffy, Kid, and Law pull a total last minute save and basically unload cannon after cannon on those three ships of Kaido's. And not only is that an amazing way to stick the middle finger to Kanjuro as the one thing the man should have always kept close to the chest is never underestimate the unpredictability of pirates. That is the one thing you should never do. But on top of that, I absolutely love how seeing the main three showing up the way they did is pretty much kind of a pretty much 1-0 Redux version of the first time that they had ever teamed up on Saab Audi, except this time instead of Marines, it's Kaido's forces they're up against. And but the thing even more than that, for as uplifting as it was to see Luffy, Law, Kid, all of them kind of just swoop in to save the Yakuza 9, the part that really stuck out to me in this episode was the build-up before the reveal and seeing just how outgunned and outmatched Kinemon and the others were, because despite the Straw Hats' arrival and any help afterwards, one thing to pay attention to going forward are further instances where things go wrong, and a lot of the times they just a lot of times the Straw Hats or the Yakuza 9 that they're just gonna feel like pretty much out, just pretty much outflanked in some ways, and because. And I know that's something that we have seen before, that the Straw Hats and their allies like facing insurmountable odds. But the thing with Wano going forward is that it kind of flips the script on that trope that Oda has used so much. Because the further we go from here, the more you'll question more and more of, can the Straw Hats and the Samurai actually win this? Like, I'm not joking when I say that Wano from here on really packs on the pressure, and you really start to understand just two basic laws that are kind of established, which is what Law was talking about on Punk Hazard with low percentage of success, and what was told to us during Kaido's introduction, which is that one-on-one Kaido wins. That's what people say. Like that especially is going to come heavily into play as we go forward, which Now with that said, I know I already talked about it, but I want to keep rubbing it in his face more because Kanjuro, for the love of God, dude, for someone who's considered Oroshi's trusted spy, you sure suck at accounting for the unpredictability factor. Like the one thing you never do with when pirates like Luffy are involved in something is assume everything is gonna go as planned. Because trust me, unless you've got an extremely tight lid on the situation and your base is covered, he's bound to fuck something up for you. Like seriously, always assume something can go wrong until you've completed your objective, dude. Like it's like seriously, Luffy himself is a freaking force of nature you do not want to underestimate. And if you do, well, shit like this happens, dude. Just saying. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst, Crunchyroll, and be sure to hit the bell for notifications and the notification button itself, and just share the video around. Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.